Well, voter fraud is impossible. It never takes place in America, and only flat earthers and crazy people believe otherwise. You know that because you've been told it again and again and again, and that's why we don't need any safeguards against it or investigations into it or voter ID laws, and that's why extending voting over the course of a month is no problem at all. The only people capable of threatening American elections are Macedonians with laptops and Facebook accounts. That is all true, except it's not true. It's not even close to true. It's a full-blown lie like a lot of the things they tell you. How do we know? Well, California is currently purging its voter rolls after settling a lawsuit from Judicial Watch. One of that group's findings is that Los Angeles County had more registered voters than it had adult citizens, which, even if you're not a math major, doesn't make sense. Guy Benson is a math major, also a town hall reporter and the host of a famous radio show. He joins us tonight.
I was not a math major. I want to make that extremely clear.
You know what? You could have been a poetry major, and it still doesn't make any sense, does it?
No. So what Judicial Watch did was an investigation, and they found that in the state of California, writ large, they had 101% of their eligible citizen adult population registered to vote.
So that means they're doing really well, then.
I mean, hey, bananas, right? Just like gangbusters. Then in Los Angeles County, it was 112%. So Judicial Watch has done legal actions like this in a number of states. They've had successes in courts in Ohio, in Kentucky, and now California as well, where they basically said, you guys have to clean this up. This is not okay. And so there will be a purge of the voter rolls. I know that word is used sort of as a scary buzzword sometimes on the left, but you have to legally remove people who are...
correction of the voter roll.
That's right. So you're purging ineligible or dead voters from the rolls. And California
But that's bias against the deceased, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's very bigoted towards the living. Which I think is part of the election law. Again, I'm not a lawyer here, like I'm not a math major either, Tucker. But I think, again, we shouldn't overplay the problem of voter fraud. But it does irk me when you hear over and over again from our moral betters, it's a complete figment of our imagination, and any concern about it whatsoever has to mean that you are dead set on disenfranchising large groups of people. I think what we're seeing in this lawsuit and what the California government has been forced to do because of it proves that there needs to be oversight.
So all widespread voter fraud in my lifetime that I'm aware of, systemic voter fraud, has benefited the Democratic Party. If you thought it was reversed, if widespread voter fraud was perceived to benefit the Republican Party, do you think we'd be more vigilant in trying to prevent it?
I suspect the cultural elites would have a different view on this issue. And a lot of the verbiage that surrounds the question would be turned on its head. I will point out, and this is actually an interesting sidebar to the California issue, one example of apparent, I think, serious allegations of voter fraud is in North Carolina recently, in a congressional race in, I believe, the 9th District, which benefited a Republican. And what happened there was this practice which was illegal in North Carolina called ballot harvesting, where third parties can go and collect absentee ballots, and there's a chain of custody issues and all of that. And that was manipulated to help the Republican win. That seat is now in jeopardy, that they might have to have a new election.
Let me just, for the record, say I'm totally opposed to that, and all fraud, no matter who it benefits.
100%. The reason I brought it up is ballot harvesting of absentee ballots is actually legal in the state of California.
It's crazy. It's totally, completely crazy. Guy Benson, thank you for being on that.
My pleasure.
Great to see you.
Sure.
Well, the purpose of the Mueller